Have you ever wondered why your jawline is non-existent even though that you're quite lean? Because that is exactly how I have felt my entire life. Until that I realized that we have certain muscles in our face that we can train in order to become more attractive. 6 months ago I had such a recessed jawline. Plus I had what looks like fat around my jaw. But after just 6 months, my face has completely changed without doing any hard maxing stuff. I simply just did 3 exercises that gave me forward growth and tightened up my skin under my jaw area. That's why in this video I will teach you exactly what these 3 exercises are and how to train them so you can attract countless of girls. So now let's go into step number 1, which is how to fix your jawline. So there's 2 muscles that we need to train in order for us to get an attractive jawline. So now let's start with muscle number 1 and how to train it, which is called the suprahyoids and the infrahyoids. When these muscles are trained, we will raise something called our hyoid bone. So you might be wondering now, why should we train our hyoid bone and our supra and infrahyoids? And if you take a look at the screen, you will understand why. Because if we take a look at the middle picture and the picture on the left side, I was 18 on both those pictures, and you can clearly see that my jawline is not developed properly. Basically, my maxilla, which is our upper jawline here, and my mandible here has been pushed inwards, which basically just made my jawline look way shorter than what it actually is. And you can see on the middle picture I had the same problem, but I had another problem as well, which is that I had this skin hanging off. Basically it looked like I had some fat under my chin, and this is actually because my hyoid bone has not been raised properly. It has basically been lowered. So if you take a look at this picture, this is exactly what our hyoid bone muscle is. It's kind of a U-shaped bone that sits right under our chin here. And when this is raised up, this hyoid bone, as you can see on the right side, you can see how the skin will just tighten up and you will have such more definition on your jawline, which will just make you so much more attractive in general. It's what every single model and just usually an attractive guy has, which makes him so irresistible to girls. So now let me teach you the exercises that I did to train what's called my suprahyoid muscles, which is basically just the muscles that we have right under our chin. So they are basically up against here. That's our suprahyoid muscles. Then we have the infrahyoid muscles, which is the neck muscles around here. So it goes around our throat. And when these muscles are trained, you will literally raise up your hyoid bone, which will do all the benefits that we talked about, you know, going from this jawline to this jawline. And I did it in just a couple of months, like 4 to 6 months. So the first exercise that you want to do to train these muscles is to do a progressively overloaded chin tuck. So if you don't know what a chin tuck is, it's basically where you have your head and your body up against a flat surface. Then what you want to do is, just as the name implies, you want to think about tucking your chin into your neck. When you're doing this exercise, you will specifically target the suprahyoid muscles, which was the muscles under here, which will over time develop your hyoid bone into getting raised up. But the reason why that you want to do it in a progressively overloaded version is because that usually you don't get enough pressure from just doing a plain chin tuck like this. It's good for learning how to have a correct neck posture, which also aligns with the tissues and muscles for like your hyoid bone, your suprahyoid muscles, and your mandible alignment. So the way that you want to do it progressively overloaded is just taking your hands together, just like if you were going to pray. And then you want to focus on having your thumbs pointing out like this, so you can have a stable grip, you could call it, under your jawline here. And then what you just want to do is just that you want to apply the pressure upwards with your thumbs and hand while resisting downwards into a chin tuck with your jawline here. So it will look like this. The second exercise that we can do to train more of the infrahyoid muscles, but still training our suprahyoid muscles, is to do something called a neck curl. So this is basically just a version of the chin tuck, but where you just are lying down, so the gravity is pretty much, it makes it harder. So what you just want to do is lie with your head on the edge of like a bench or a bed, and then what you want to think about here is trying to stretch out your neck as much as possible, because that's where you can feel the tension around your muscles. But the most key and most important part of this exercise is now you just want to think about rolling your neck inwards, basically doing a chin tuck, just lying downwards, and then just roll a little bit upwards, but don't lift your neck. It's not for the specific neck muscles that we want to think about. It's more like the suprahyoid and the infrahyoid muscles that we want to train, because that is what's going to raise our hyoid bone upwards. But let's say that you just want to get as much progress as quickly as possible. I actually do one-to-one coachings where I specifically teach you how to do these exercises. Furthermore, I will take a look at you and I can just tell exactly what you need to improve on to maximize your looks. So I literally make a specific customized workout plan just for you. So if you're interested in this, then go click the top link of the description. All the details are there. So now let's go on to muscle number 2, which is something called your palate, specifically the heart palate. So you're probably wondering, why should we train our heart palate? And if you take a look at the screen again, it's the same pictures from before. But if you remember what I said, I had what was called a recessed looking jawline, basically meaning our maxilla and our mandible are pushed more inwards instead of being actually properly developed and being pushed forward and upwards, so we get this kind of jawline. And that is what the palate does, because if we apply pressure upwards and forwards towards our palate, we will slowly start to push our maxilla forward, and therefore our mandible will follow with it, and therefore we will get forward growth. And that's what's so interesting, because we are all meant to actually have a good jawline, but it's just because of our habits that we actually don't have an attractive jawline. The reason why you probably have a recessed looking jawline is because you've been doing habits like mouth breathing, you have not been having the correct tongue posture, so you're probably just resting it naturally in your mouth instead of up against your palate. And that is exactly what I'm going to teach you now, because the first step is that we want to have a correct tongue posture, and that is where we take our tip of our tongue up against our roof of our mouth, aka our heart palate, which is right behind our front teeth. That's the roof of the mouth. We want to apply pressure upwards. So when you do this, you can kind of feel like there's a little bit of a hole upwards against your roof of your mouth. Then if you try to go forward with your tongue, you will kind of go up against a wall, and that's where your tongue should be pressuring upwards against. So if you imagine this is your roof of your mouth, you just want to apply pressure upwards against here, and then think about pushing it forward and upwards. So it will look like this. Then we close it with our jawline, so we apply more pressure. And then we just want to swallow so we can activate it the correct way. And now we are mewing correctly. And if you want faster results, you just want to do something called a progressively overloaded version, which is just heart mewing. It's just where you try to apply as much pressure upwards and forwards that you can with your tongue. This will really burn your area on your roof of your mouth, but that's when you know that you're doing it correctly. That's actually a story that I want to tell you with, now that we are talking about our jawline. And me and my family, like my whole family, we usually go on a restaurant and we eat together on someone's birthday. And when we have done this, my parents specifically, they always used to take pictures of me and my cousins and, you know, sitting at the table, having a good time and all this. And there's a specific time where I remember that after my mom had taken some pictures of me and the others, I actually saw them for once, because usually they are on my mother's phone, so I don't see them. But I scrolled through her photos one time, and then I looked that someone seemed kinda similar to me. So I pressed on the picture, and when I looked at it, I saw that it was me from some months ago. and my jawline was just completely recessed. Like, I literally got caught in 4K on that picture. I look like somebody who was just dying slowly. And what's so clear in this picture is that I'm so clearly mouth breathing. I'm not having the correct tongue posture, and I'm breathing through my mouth instead of my nose, which is just horrible. And that is why that my jawline actually came inwards. So it has nothing to do with my genetics. It's not because my jawline were just meant to be ugly, but it's just because that I've been doing habits that simply just ruined my jawline. And that is exactly why that I want you to go down into the comments and tell me a story from maybe a specific time where you realized that looks had such an important role. Maybe it was back in high school or just in elementary school, where maybe your crush always had more attention on one of the popular guys in the class because he was more beautiful, because I have been experimenting that myself, but that can be a story for another video. So now that we are at the end of this video, I really want to say that I'm so proud of you for watching this video. Think about how productive of a day that you have gotten into. Like, you could have just doom scrolled, you could have fucking watched some porn or whatever it is, but you have actually chosen to educate yourself in this video. Sorry. So I am so proud of you for doing so. And that is exactly why that I know this channel will be just for you. So if you want to learn more about this looks maxing stuff for free, then I will highly recommend you to go down and click subscribe to my channel. And if you want to keep on learning right now, then go have a look at this video over here. Thanks for watching and have a wonderful day, bro. Mwah.